Oh hello, it's Trish the Gong Gardener here, and I just want to show you a basic guide to watering a pot plant. So this is an indoor plant, a dwarf umbrella. So I probably watered it 2 or 3 weeks ago. I don't water it that often, but if you come in closely, I'll show you the state of the plant. So it's completely dried out. So I let this one dry out between watering. So if I left this another week, it'd still be okay because it's a pretty tough plant, dwarf umbrella. And you can do that with any of your tough indoor plants. Let them mostly dry out. See, it's a tiny bit moist, but hardly moist. So it's mostly dry. The roots also show you that it's still got plenty of room to move, even though they're pretty tight in the pot. But for an indoor plant, most plants like to be tight. So lots of roots. And in spring, I may pot this up one more size, or it would last one more year in this pot. So that doesn't matter so much. So I'm just going to show you how to water it. But while you're checking the roots, and you probably should do this every 6 months, just give the roots a check. Check if there's any mealybug down there or anything like that. If your plant's unhealthy, it's got the more chance of getting bugs. So, yep, I'll just pop that back in the pot. And before you water it too, you can have a check over the foliage and you see if there's any problems. So, I had to check over this morning, and I checked over this leaf here. So, Catherine, if you come in.
I'm coming in.
Yep. You can see I pulled one whole leaf off because there was some scale, which you can hardly see.
Yeah, you can just see that there.
Yep. Yeah. But what's happened is those scale are dead. I haven't, because when they're loose and come off like that, flaky, they're dead. And I don't know if you can see it, but if you have an umbrella plant or other plants, sometimes you can see an oily sheen on the leaf, and that's the plant defences. So it has oil glands in the leaves. And if your plant's healthy and watered correctly, not overwatered, not underwatered, if it's looking healthy like this one, it can defend itself against a few little bugs. But I took this leaf off, but you can see, yeah, all that scale scraped off with my fingernail very easily. They're flaky. So if it was a bit harder, if it was alive, might have to give an oil spray to the plant. But I don't really like doing that because that actually clogs up their own pores. So the idea to keep the bugs away is to keep the plant healthy. Don't overwater it, don't underwater it. Like I said, this is an indoor plant, so it can dry out more than an outdoor plant. If you had this outside, you'd water it 4 times more than if you had it inside, because inside there's no breeze blowing through on top of it, and the plant evaporates more water through the leaves if that happens. So inside, yes, less water. Outside, more water. So this is how I water a plant. So I do this to plants with berry leaves or anything. I always water the foliage, and that washes. Say if there is a crawler of an insect around, that will wash the crawlers off, because before scale build their little home, they crawl around and look where to land. And yeah, so if you wash them off, they'll fall on the ground and an ant will get them or something like that. Then you water the soil, and what you've got to make sure is that you're watering it so every single part of that soil, you imagine, is getting wetted by the water. Now, I know this one got fully wetted because that's how I watered it and it wasn't overly dry, but if they're overly dry, you can take it out of the pot and check it out. If it's still dry, you might need to dunk this in water, or use a wetting agent if dunking in water doesn't work, because sometimes the potting mixes, if they're overly dry, they get a build-up of oil, and then they repel the water, so the soil becomes hydrophobic, the potting mix. So then you might need a wetting agent, but it's best to avoid that sort of thing. Yep, and so you're washing the dust off and any insect crawlers or and the plant just loves it. So yeah, if you don't have an outside area, you can use your shower. Yeah. And then during the warm season, I like to use like a liquid feed. So there's various liquid feeds you can use. This one's Power Feed and there's Harvest. But I like to use these organic based type. You know, Charlie Carp is good. So, yeah. So, yeah, they don't mind it over the foliage because they can take water in through their little stomates. And, yeah, fully wet. I'll take that off for that. But, yeah, fully wet that.
And would you do that if you're expecting rain and they were out in the a rain area? How long would you have for the plant to benefit from that feed?
From this, it benefits straight away.
Oh, okay.
So I like to wet the soil first before I use it, but you can use it without wetting the soil. You can just use this. But during the winter, I don't fertilise. So just during the growing season, so
okay.
Spring, autumn, summer. Yeah, just give it a light power feed, and underfeeding is better than overfeeding. If you didn't feed it for the whole year, that's better than overfeeding because overfeeding can cause problems.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like to use the ones that aren't mineral based because then you get salt build-ups in the soil. And I don't mind the controlled release fertilisers you can use twice a year, and you can use those in conjunction with the liquid fertilisers. So that just keeps your plant, nicely, gently fed. You want to gently feed it. And, yeah, that's it. So I'll just show you one more thing. I've often seen on posts that people go, what's wrong with my plant? So I've purposely left the aged foliage on this plant. Now, if your older leaves go like yellow, that's just the older leaves, and all you do is pull down with your finger and pull across, and the leaf comes off cleanly, and that's how you clean up the plant. So if that happens to the older leaves, there's nothing wrong with the plant because leaves have a finite life, so they finish. But if there's problems with the newer leaves, that's a problem. It's usually a sign of overwatering or underwatering. They'll get brown tips with overwatering or underwatering, and they'll get brown anywhere from problems and fungal problems too. But in saying that, I water the foliage of plants because I like to get the dust off, and I just do it in the morning and when the foliage is going to dry. But most plants love it on top because they love the humidity. Yeah, so I overhead water my plants. So that's that plant there. So any of the plants in the philodendron type family, I see a lot of posts about older leaves. So it's nothing wrong with the plant. You just have to take off the leaves. Okay, hope it's helpful. Leave your comments below. And, subscribe if you like it. Thanks, bye.